Alrighty, welcome to a vintage video here on my new YouTube channel. So we are playing vintage, not vintage cube, actual vintage, the format of Mox Jet, Black Lotus, Mishra's Workshop. Well, you might be surprised that Mishra's Workshop is actually the card on screen because I usually play the Force of Will decks in vintage, but today we're going to try something different. So vintage is Magic's oldest format, or rather the format that uses the oldest cards. Everything's legal, with the exception of some banned cards like anti-cards or Chaos Orb or cards that are ridiculous. But for the most part, cards are restricted if they're too good, such as Black Lotus. You can only play one. And they try to avoid banning. It's a weird format, but it can be a lot of fun. And today we're playing Mishra's Workshop, Urza Saga Workshops. So what that means is, because Mishra's Workshop taps for 3 mana, but just for artifacts, you have all these expensive artifacts that make it harder for your opponent to do anything. Sphere of Resistance. Phyrexian Revoker can lock down things like Moxes. Thorn of Amethyst, Trinisphere, all make your opponent's stuff cost more. Chalice of the Void locks them out. God-Pharaoh statue is like a double Sphere of Resistance for 6 mana. This deck's got a little spice to it. It's got 4 copies of Golos. You can go get your Strip Mine. You can go get the Tabernacle at Pendrell, Vale. You can get Inventors Fair, which tutors for any artifact. Obviously, go get Urza Saga. It's got Crucible of Worlds to replay its Wasteland, Strip Mines, and Urza Sagas, and Ghost Quarters, because vintage decks kind of famously don't have very many basic lands. It's also got Time Vault, which, when combined with Manifold Key, is infinite turns, and you can tutor for Manifold Key with Urza Saga. And you can tutor for either with Inventors Fair. Then, as a way to finish them off, Nettle Cyst is pretty good. It's XX, or X the number of artifacts you control, and you can move this around if you need it. The sideboard has a bunch of traps that you can play for free against the unfair decks, because the biggest weakness of this kind of deck is that you don't have Force of Will, but this kind of imitates that. Mindbreak trap against combo in general. Archive traps specifically against Doomsday. They cast Doomsday and then you just mill their whole deck. They only have 5 cards left. 2 Dismembers against the creature decks, and then a bunch of Karn targets, because you have 1 copy of Karn the Great Creator, which is restricted in vintage, mostly because its static ability that activated abilities of artifacts your opponents control can't be activated. It makes it so things like Moxes don't tap for mana, really good in vintage, and it can go get a Null Rod, a Walking Ballista, Worm Coil, Mycosynth Lattice, which locks everything down, Sky Sovereign against creatures, Torp Orb against decks with a bunch of ETBs, Grafdigger's Cage and Tormod's Crypt against the graveyard decks, and then Null Rod against other artifacts. So, we're in a vintage league. Let's see how this goes. Again, we don't usually play workshops here, but I decided to try something different, and this looked pretty fun. I'm on the play, and I will definitely keep this hand. Obviously, I have a lot of lands in this hand, 6 mana sources, but Strip Mine is disruption as well. Urza Saga is busted, and I have turn 1 Sphere on the play. So I think my play is going to be Black Lotus, Ancient Tomb, Sphere of Resistance. There is well, that actually might not be the best play. The best play could be Black Lotus, crack it to cast Sphere, play Urza Saga, and then Urza Saga plus Ancient Tomb, you can activate Urza Saga on turn 2. So the question is, is it worth throwing away a Black Lotus, using it up, in order to get to play Urza Saga turn 1, Ancient Tomb turn 2? If I go turn 1 Tomb Sphere, I guess I could go turn 2 Strip Mine. Whereas if I go Saga Lotus Sphere, I'm locked into playing Ancient Tomb on turn 2. Well, it might be okay, though. What am I cutting myself off from? I guess just Golos is the only card that I couldn't easily cast. And with double Ancient Tomb, I think I can cast just about anything. So let's just lead with Sphere off of Lotus here. See if we get Force of Willed. And opponent, if they have a Force of Will, they're going to use it. They did have a Force of Will. And we'll find out what they pitch soon enough. And then I'm just going to play Urza Saga and be done. All right, Force of Will pitching Mystical Tutor. So it could be playing Doomsday, could be playing other like Tinker or Unfair deck of some kind. And I think I'm happier with leading with Lotus into Sphere, given that it got Force of Willed, because now I need to be able to do something sooner rather than later. Oh, this is going to be trouble. We're playing against Oath of Druids, and they might have a turn 1 Oath here. Yeah, turn 1 Force of Will plus Oath is a tough one. Oh, that's not an Oath, that's a white mana. I don't know what's going on then. I guess we'll find out. Red, white, blue. Oh, show and tell. No, that is problematic. They're going to put a Griselbrand or an Atraxa into play. I guess maybe a Sphinx. There's Atraxa. Okay. Yeah, turn 1 Atraxa with Force of Will backup is not going to be easy for me to beat. And then you get to peel a bunch of cards here. I guess an Oath of Druids, a Bolas' Citadel beside you, a Demonic Tutor, and a Flusterstorm probably. So what am I going to do? I guess what I'm going to do is probably lose. But if I draw a Time Vault and I play it this turn, well, they have beside you who endures, which is really problematic. Let me see. Let's take a look at the game log here, because it'll tell me. Opponent said, "Love the new YouTube channel. Hope to see some vintage vids." Well, there we go. YouTube is going to watch you beat me turn 1, indeed. So what did they put in their hand? They treated beside you, Mental Misstep, Oath of Druids, Demonic Tutor. Sure. So, not Bolas' Citadel. I think that was just free, but that's okay. All right, and let's see. There's not much I can draw here that gets around this Atraxa. I mean, I guess it's possible a Karn. A Karn could do something here. You have to be pretty quick. Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale is going to have a tough time killing Atraxa, given that they have 2 mana sources in play. Okay. Yeah. We are dead here. So, playing against Oath of Druids. So, I think I do want to board in the Grafdigger's Cage, because that stops Oath of Druids, and I don't think it's worth putting it in the sideboard to Karn for. Like, I'd rather just try to draw it. And then I can take out, oh, I guess Karakas is my best out there. But against Beside You and Demonic Tutor, it's not really going to work. I could take out like a Revoker because random creatures aren't that good. I don't know. Torpor Orb stops Atraxa, doesn't stop Griselbrand, and it's kind of weak, I think. If they have an Atraxa in play, I'm in trouble, even if they don't draw a bunch of cards off it. So I think I'm just going to put in the Revoker, or put in the Grafdigger's Cage for the Revoker, and hopefully on the play lead with another enough disruption they can't do that. Oath of Druids is typically one of your worst matchups as a workshop deck. I've played mostly from the Oath of Druids side, but the problem is Oath of Druids is a 2-mana play that kind of beats this deck, and that's pretty tough because this deck is good at stopping your opponent from doing too much, but the Oath decks just need to cast like one thing. In this case, it was actually Show and Tell, but kind of the same thing. Show and Tell at least costs 3 mana, so that's a little bit harder, but we'll have to hope for I guess, slightly more disruptive hand. And of course, they have Force of Wills and Beside You, and you maybe Force of Negation, Force of Vigor. Like they get a lot of good cards against it. That's actually one of the tougher matchups. So we're gonna have a tough time here. But you know, this is vintage. You can always have a great draw, and it's certainly possible that if I, just lead on Trinisphere, you can always just win. So we'll see. In this case, I can play turn 1 Sphere, Time Vault, turn 2 Golos. Yeah, I don't think I can mulligan that. So how do I want to do this? I don't want to play, I guess I can play Workshop, Mana Crypt. I can play Sphere and then play Time Vault through Sphere here if the Sphere resolves. Which of course, again, it might not. Opponent just snapped off a hand of 7. Yeah, they're going to Force of Will it. Pitching Sphinx of the Steel Wind, sure. And then I'll play a Time Vault, which doesn't do much, but it does mean that if I draw Urza Saga or just draw the Manifold Key, I can win. And also I can Golos for Urza Saga. So my turn 2 play might be Golos for Urza Saga, Wasteland your land. Of course, if we play against a turn 1 Oath of Druids, then it doesn't really matter what we do. Okay, turn 1 Brainstorm. That reduces the chance that Oath of Druids is hitting the board this turn. They might have kept a hand with Mox, Brainstorm, Force, blue card, and other, no other lands. Maybe they're just brainstorming first because they have a fetch land and they want to, get that shuffle action. But we'll find out. Time Vault's a weird card. You can skip your turn to untap it. Not usually a good play. On the other hand, if you can untap it with any other effect, you can just tap it to take an extra turn. It's a very cool card. All right, so there goes the fetch land. Oh, and they're going to fetch now. Well, that opens the door for me to Wasteland them at least. Or not. Island into Ponder. So I need to see the game log again. Because if they ponder and don't shuffle, it'll change whether I want to Ghost Quarter them or not, or the timing of that. They chose not to shuffle. Okay. So it might actually be good for them for me to Ghost Quarter them. Also, the Oath decks don't... I don't want to skip my turn. No, thank you. The Oath decks don't always play lots of basics. Oh, there's a Lodestone Golem. I actually still think it's better to Golos here over Lodestone because I want to get Urza Saga because Urza Saga is a win with Time Vault. So the faster I get that out, the better. Obviously, if they have another Force of Will, they have another Force of Will. But then they're down to 2 cards in hand. Okay, they did force it, pitching Time Walk. So they pondered, chose not to shuffle, drew a card. Do we want to let them draw their second card or shuffle it away? And I don't really know the answer to that. Do I want 2 of the... I think I'm going to let them draw their second card and then shuffle it and then Ghost Quarter them. Because they might not have another basic, so getting to Ghost Quarter them is good. But the odds that their second card is as good as their first card is pretty low. This does let them tap the island for mana, but there's not that much they can cast with double blue that they couldn't cast with single blue. Most of the instants in this deck cost 1 mana. Mystical Tutor, Brainstorm's already been used, that sort of thing. And I don't know if they have a second basic. It'll depend list by list, but a lot of the lists will just have the 1 island. I mean, we'll find out. Okay, they didn't have another one, which is good. And they're only down to 3 cards. There's Orchard. Oh my god, please no Oath. If they just have an Oath now, then... Yep. And there we go. Soul Ring, okay. 1 card in hand. And is it Oath of Druids? Oh, it's Demonic Tutor. Okay, so they're going to be able to go get Oath of Druids or Ancestral Recall. The question is, how lucky do they feel? Because Wasteland is going to take out their Forbidden Orchard, which means they're not going to be able to play Oath of Druids if that's what they tutored for. All right, this will be a close game here because either they tutored for Ancestral. Oh, well, that doesn't actually change anything. Either they tutored for Ancestral and they're going to be able to cast it still, or they tutored for Oath of Druids and they won't be able to cast it, but any green source lets them cast it. Oath is a much higher payoff than Ancestral, but they had to be worried about Wasteland. So let's see. Let's see what they got. If they just passed the turn, yeah, they tutored for Oath, which unfortunately the Thorn of Amethyst doesn't really change that equation because now their spells are going to cost 2 more, which does restrict some amount of their spells, but with Lodestone plus Thorn, if they draw another land, then they still get to cast their Oath. I'm going to play the Wasteland. I don't think it matters. This is their last turn for them to draw something relevant, though, or for them to draw a land specifically, because if they don't draw a land this turn, then I get to attack them down to 4 and Oath doesn't do anything. Okay, they didn't have it. Oof, lucky. All right. Now we're going to have to win a game on the draw. That sounds a little tougher. I could also board in Null Rod. They have a lot of artifact mana. It does shut off the Time Vault combo. It shuts off my artifact mana too, but that doesn't really matter. It's possible that... But I guess the Revoker seems like it's good enough. Actually, let's just take out Soul Guide Lantern and put in another Revoker, and we'll count on the Revokers to turn off their artifact mana. All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll keep this hand. I'm on the draw. They mulliganed. What I do with this hand, on the play you would often want to just Chalice for 0 because it stops them from playing Moxes or Lotus or anything like that. On the draw against Oath, I actually think I might Chalice for 2. Just because it stops Oath of Druids. It will cut off my Revoker, unfortunately. Okay. They didn't play anything else. Oh, Soul Ring. That's interesting. Workshop. So I have 5, 4. Oh, I actually have enough mana to do all the things I want to do. So let's play a Revoker. And I think I just named Black Lotus here, because that's the most powerful of the mana sources. Oh, actually, oh, it has non-land. Yeah, I was gonna say I could name Bojuka, but I actually can't name Bojuka. So I'm gonna name Black Lotus, and then I'm gonna play Mana Crypt and play a Chalice for 2 to stop them from playing an Oath on turn 2. And they can still, Bojuka, well, they can force a will. They forced pitching Atraxa. Okay. They're down to 3 cards in hand, but if they just go land Oath, I mean, that's why this matchup is so bad. Just Oath of Druids is a really strong card. Okay. They're cracking their fetch. Not great, not great. And Demonic Tutoring. All right, so what am I hoping to draw here? I don't think Trinisphere would necessarily stop it. A Wasteland could stop it. A Karn could be interesting. Ghost Quarter. Well, I mean, I am going to Ghost Quarter their Trop. They can go get an island, but they can't. They can't cast Oath off that island. I'm going to play Crucible, so we have at least a clock on them with Ghost Quarter Crucible, because we know that they don't have another basic in their deck. But if they just have any other fetch land or a green Mox or a Forbidden Orchard, they just get to slam Oath now. The game gets kind of interesting if they don't have that. Assuming they Demonic Tutored for Oath again. They might have Demonic Tutored for Ancestral Recall. That's always the possibility to play around a Wasteland. Oh, they have Bojuka into Oath. All right, so now what are we hoping to do? Still Karn would be good. Not a whole. I could just draw the Grafdigger's Cage. That would be cool. Did not. So they're gonna get Sphinx of the Steel Wind, I suppose. I think I just keep killing Bojuka, or do I just kill Underground Sea at this point? I think now that Oath is resolved, I think I'd rather just kill Underground Sea. Sure, they can tap for mana if they want. And then I'm going to attack them. And they did pitch an Atraxa, so there's a possibility that they get Sphinx of the Steel Wind, and I have a few turns to try to do something. But at this point, I'm really drawing to like Karn is my best draw. All right, let's see what they Oath into. They hit Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Okay. That does give me at least a few turns. It's a 6/6 flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink, pro red and pro green. A Karn can still battle with that. I don't think a Golos can quite do that. Oh, they had Time Walk too? Well, that means I have at least one turn less. And I go to 11. Mana Crypt becomes a bit more of a liability right now. Well, what am I hoping for? Just Karn always. I don't think Nettle Cyst will help me race. They just do too much. They gain too much life and do too much damage. Okay. I lost the flip, which doesn't change the clock here. Oh, I went to attacks already. Whatever. Kill their island. And then they're not going to get to cast any more spells this game, because I'm going if this resolves, obviously, if they have a Force of Will, that changes things too. But if God-Pharaoh statue resolves, they don't get to cast any more spells, but I don't think they need to. What I need to draw is a Tabernacle. If I draw a Tabernacle, then at Pendrell Vale, then I can kill their beside you with Ghost. Oh, wait, I don't have enough land drops. So that doesn't work either. I guess I need Karn. I don't even know what exactly Karn can do to keep me alive here. I also am 50-50 to die on every upkeep now thanks to Mana Crypt. So it's going to be hard. All right, I won the flip. And I drew Sphere of Resistance, so I can kill their last thing and then perish. All right, 0-1. See, this is why you don't put down the Force of Wills. But my draws have been fine. Oath is just a really tough matchup. You saw those games, and if you go back when they have an Oath in play, the only card that I can get that does something is Grafdigger's Cage. That's about it. I guess what I've even Karned for. I could have Karned for a Ballista to have 12 mana. I'd pretty close, right? Yeah, because I could have gone Workshop for 3, Mana Vault for 3. That's 6. Mana Crypt is 8, and then Academy I think gets me up to 12 potentially, and then I could play a Ballista for 6 and kill the Sphinx. But then they get to Oath again, and yeah, who knows? But yeah, it is tough to play against Oath of Druids, which it's a good deck. The way Oath typically fits into Vintage is it's good against workshops and creature decks. It's better against those decks than the most blue decks, but I think it's worse in the blue deck mirror because you have a bunch of cards which are a little bit less effective. But unfortunately, we were one of the decks that Oath is good against, and that's who we battled against. So all right, let's find round 2. Alrighty, welcome to round 2. We would like to play first. It's kind of weird hand. I don't have a turn 1 play, which is usually not great in Vintage. And then my turn 2 play is a Golos. And if they force it, I'm out a lot. I think I'm actually going to mulligan this hand. This hand is fine, though. I don't think I can do better than this on 5. Because this hand at least has turn 2 Trinisphere. So I can play turn 1 Revoker and just kind of blind Revoker. Typically Black Lotus would be the name there. I think I put Nettle Cyst on the bottom. See if I get any information about what my opponent is doing here. They mulligan to 6, that's all I know. All right, well, I think just for mana efficiency reasons, I gotta play Revoker. And name Black Lotus, because just a powerful card that every deck plays pretty much. I suppose like Dredge or something doesn't play Black Lotus, but those are just decks that, Revoker's not going to do much against either. Gitaxian Probes are playing against a blue deck. They get to see that I'm playing Trinisphere next turn. Oh, Taiga? Are we playing against the Rootwalla deck? No, we're playing against Taiga, Deathrite Shaman. Maybe like one of those like 4-color-ish Planeswalker decks. Not sure. Let's go Wasteland, Trinisphere, and then I will attack. Oh, they're forcing it, pitching Hull Breacher. Okay, yeah, it's like one of those like 4-color disruptive creature decks. The reason I played Wasteland over Urza's Saga is because I drew Lodestone Golem. So I didn't want to play Urza Saga because I knew I wasn't going to activate it next turn. Next turn I'll play Urza Saga, Lodestone Golem. They have access to 3 mana. They could play something like Oko that would be kind of annoying. They play a Tarmogoyf. Oh, Renin 6. They could pop my Revoker. I don't know if that's doing anything. If they don't have Black Lotus, it's just a 2-1, but I guess it will attack the Revoker, so. All right, they have Renin 6, so this Wasteland's going to be a lot less effective. Crucible is not bad. Okay. Let's play Lodestone Golem. I assume this is going to resolve. It'd be kind of hard for them to have another Force of Will and a blue card as their last 2. They pitched Hull Breacher. And now they get to make their land drop. We're taxing their spell a little bit. It is nice that if they want to tap Deathrite Shaman for mana, they have to turn off their Renin 6 to a degree. Like, they can get back Misty, play it, sack it, have a 3rd land. But if they want a 4th mana, Deathrite has to exile their Misty, and maybe they don't have another land to get back. Also, Lodestone Golem is going to attack red and 6 next turn. There's my plan. I'm kind of glad they're not wastelanding me. Okay. No plays, huh? Interesting. Saga goes up to 2. Let's just attack red and 6 to start. See what they do. They're going to play like a Hull Breacher or something. Or cast like a Dismember type card. I guess we'll find out. So what is my play here? So they had to exile their land. I could play Golos or I could activate Saga. I think playing Golos seems like it's quite a bit better. Yeah, this is a Hull Breacher and they're going to block. Fair. Okay. Mox. And go to 11, play Golos. And what am I getting with Golos? So I can get Tabernacle that will make their Deathrite less good. I could get Strip Mine, but I already have Wasteland and I have Crucible. So I don't really think I want to get Tabernacle. I could get Tolarian Academy because that adds a lot of mana, but I don't think that's even that impressive. Bojuka Bog doesn't do anything because they have no lands in their graveyard right now. I could get another Urza Saga. I think I'm just going to do that and just start making a bunch of Urza Saga tokens. Next turn, I can make 2 Urza Saga tokens and then go get a Soul Ring. Sounds pretty good. Okay, they're brainstorming. We'll see if they find another fetch land to pair with Deathrite. They also could find Wasteland, or fetch land to pair with red and 6 even. Oh, no, they're done. Okay, they're going to die to a bunch of Sagas. So you want Dismembers, playing against a bunch of creatures. I like the Needle still. I like the Revokers. I like the Nettle Cysts. There's nothing that I really don't like. I guess God-Pharaoh statue is a little expensive. So, not the most impressive. And then Soul Guide Lantern is just okay. Like, yes, it can cut down on their like red and 6ing, but it's not a very effective play. I think I'll leave the Ballista in the sideboard to go get with Karn still. Feels like there's a pretty good chance that I'll want to do that. Okay. We're up a game here. And this matchup, unlike the Oath matchup, isn't just like abysmal. This hand seems okay. I can play a turn 1 Chalice for 1. On the play, again, you want Chalice for 0, but on the draw, Chalice for 1 is pretty good. I can even do it with Saga so that I get to start making Saga tokens turn 2. They mulligan to 6 here. They're going to probe. Okay, they get to see what's coming. What a bad card probe, like a bad design. It's just very unfun for them just to get to look at your hand. It's busted. I mean, just pay 2 life, draw a card, look at your opponent's hand is unreal. And I don't know, just what a nonsensical card. Okay, Needle. So Needle's interesting because Needle also does stop Deathrite Shaman. So I think what I actually might do now is go Mox, Needle, Deathrite, and then Wasteland there. And then because this is not a mana ability, the tap to exile a land card. So I could have played Chalice for 0, but they didn't play any 0 drops, so I didn't really feel that was necessary. Also, I wanted to play Needle before Chalice because I do want to play a Chalice for 1. And if I draw a mana source this turn, I might not play Urza Saga. Otherwise, oh. Yeah, that's very much a thing. All right, let's play Chalice for 1. And I think I just play Karakas here because next turn I'm going to play Golos or Karn. I'm not going to be using Urza Saga yet. Probably Karn to stop Mox Emerald, but it'll depend on what they do here. They get a volcanic end of turn. They didn't play anything, so they haven't played a lot of spells here. This Death Rite again is off because of the needle. They have strip mine, sure. They can strip mine Karakas if they want to. They might need to tap it for mana, like maybe they're going to play an Oko or something. Kind of convenient that I drew 2 1-drops before playing the Chalice on 1 instead of afterwards. Okay, well, I'm going to play Urza Saga now. And I think I'm just going to play Golos here. Golos gets me to a lot of mana if it resolves. And I'm worried about playing Karn into a end of turn Hull Breacher or something like that. So now I could get Academy. They're probably going to kill it, but that's fine. I have Karn, so using a lot of mana is nice. And this way, if they don't strip mine, if they strip mine Academy, they're not strip mining Urza Saga. All right, well, they're strip mining Urza Saga, as it turns out. They knew Urza Saga was coming, which is why they saved their strip mine, I think. Yeah, and they're just done here. All right, 1-1, back in the queue, and let's see if we can rack up some more dubs here. We got a slightly better matchup there. The creature deck is decent against, like, that's the blue disruptive creature deck. It's decent against workshops, but certainly would rather play against that than Oath. All right, on the draw this time. Can't really complain though. And got paired pretty quickly here. What do we got? Yeah, this seems fine. Any hand with Mishra's Workshop is already pretty good because it just adds so much mana. And yeah, on the play, a Sphere is a lot better than on the draw, but getting to play a Sphere is pretty nice. If I draw a Mox here, I can go Revoker your Mox and then play a Sphere. I think that would be pretty good. Uh-oh. Turn 1 Necropotence. Oh, that's going to be tough. So this is a legendary card. You skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, you exile it. I don't even know why that's really part of the card. But critically, you pay a life, set aside a card, and at the end of your turn, you get that card in your hand. So my opponent necroed for 7. So they played it, paid 7 life, and they drew 7 cards. So we're playing against Doomsday. Usually I'm on the Doomsday side. And turn 1 Necro on the play, like, we're not going to win this game. I'm going to play a turn 1 Sphere to try to hope to slow them down. And if I draw a Mox, I can even play Phyrexian Revoker but alongside that. But they almost assuredly have the way to kill me pretty quickly, plus Force of Will and blue card in hand. So, all right, well, Sphere cost them the most mana, so let's just play a Sphere. And I think I'm supposed to try to win here, even if I'm revealing that we're playing workshops, which does let them sideboard better, but I don't think our chance to win was 0. All right, well, we've sphered them, so there's that. Let's see what they've got. They have an island. It's a little harder for them to go off with Sphere in play. They have a Preordain. Okay, that's good news, because they're probably not doing too much else this turn with the Sphere in play. And then next turn, I guess I can't play Karn, but I can go Revoker on Mox, and then Wasteland their Underground Sea. And they necroed for 4? 5? They're getting to the point 6. Okay, they're getting to the point where they're not going to get that many more turns of necro action here. So let's see. Still have to discard down to 7 end of turn. And they discard Fluster, Vampiric, Misstep. Yeah, all that stuff makes sense. All right, well, I guess I don't really have much of a play. I'm going to play Phyrexian Revoker. Oh, I should have Wastelanded first, actually. That I didn't really think about it because Force of Will is usually free, but no, that was actually a really big mistake, because now they can cast Force of Will by tapping Underground Sea and forcing if they kept a Force of Will. Yeah. And so now they get to keep their Mox Sapphire. They're force pitching Daze. Well, Hopefully that doesn't cost us, but that wasn't a very good play. They're down to 5 cards. Let's see if they kept a black source. Next turn, I don't really have another piece of disruption besides a Wasteland, which could be something. Polluted Delta, so they go to 4 if they crack the Delta. If I draw Ancient Tomb or Mishra's Factory, I can also play, or Mishra's Workshop rather, I can also play Karn, and that'll turn off their Mox Sapphire. So they didn't Necro. That's interesting. I guess I just play Wasteland and pass, because Sphere does stop me from playing Karn here. I could actually, hold on, I could actually play Nettle Cyst. I think that's better. So it's tricky. The upside of playing Nettle Cyst is I get to attack and kill them next turn if they cast like a Doomsday or something and they can't really Necro. The downside is it lets them use their land end of turn and then untap and use it. They're not drawing for their turn here. Remember, Necro skips your draw step. So they're actually in a lot of trouble here. It turns out the one little sphere that could might actually get there. I think their first Necro for 7 didn't hit any Force of Wills. Otherwise, they would have forced the sphere. That's what I assumed was going to happen, but this is actually looking fine. They're at 5 now. If they crack the Delta, they go to 4. They can cast Dark Ritual and Doomsday. Really hard to win from there. And then the Nettle Cyst kills them if they don't do anything. If they don't Necro, they're not drawing any new cards. They haven't done anything for 2 turns. And if they do Necro, Nettle Cyst probably kills them. Okay, and I have a Wasteland too, so that's not the end of the world for them because they can probably get a swamp with the Polluted Delta. They almost assuredly have a swamp in their deck. But like we'll see. Mm-hmm. So 2 mana. I mean, they can Dark Ritual. I assume that's what they're going to start with. Oh, they're starting with Gush to draw 2 cards. That does generate another mana because they have... now they can replay one of their lands. But Gush is also the way to win after Doomsday. So there's Dark Ritual. Here's Doomsday. Here's Black Lotus. Okay. They might be able to win now. Thassa's Oracle. Oh, they have Demonic Consultation to win. Okay. Yeah. No, that's good. So that they exile their whole deck and then the Thassa's Oracle resolves and they win. All right. They did have the Black Lotus, so that, and they had the Oracle win, so that did work out for them. So here we're going to board in a bunch of traps. We're going to board out Soul Guide Lantern. I like the Chalices. Crucible is usually not necessary against them just because replaying lands over and over again, that's not really how the games go. I'll probably board down to like 1 Crucible. Needle is also, I think, pretty medium. Like needling Necro is not a real thing. And Torpor Orb does stop Thassa's Oracle. I think maybe I'll take out Time Vault Key and then I just have the Torpor Orb in. Okay. That looks pretty good to me. So they're going to have things like Chain of Vapor, of various... Oh, the Tabernacle could probably have gone out. Well, this hand's a mulligan either way. It doesn't do anything. They're going to have various ways... Oh, look, and the Tabernacle gets put on the bottom. Perfect. Various ways to bounce artifacts, whether it's Steel Sabotage or Hurkyl's Recall or Chain of Vapor or whatever. Mox. I think I'd just play the Wasteland to not take damage, even though it shows them that I have a Wasteland. Okay, they have Force of Negation, Pitching Days, sure. That's fine with me. And if they Doomsday, then I get to Archive Trap them. And draw another piece of disruption, maybe? No, not so much. Let's go Revoker. And I think I just named Black Lotus. And then play Mana Vault. And now they have a polluted delta, so I can't wasteland it. They can get island or swamp, but it does kind of mess up their deck to get a basic island. And basic swamp's not that useful except for casting Doomsday, so they're kind of just waiting on their fetch lands here. And I'm hoping to draw... Now is when I just need to draw something reasonably expensive. Not another mana source. Oh, there's a Golos. Okay, that definitely fits the bill. They force that. Okay, they're going to cycle Street Wraith. That's a good sign. Them striking Street Wraith in response is a good sign. That either they're looking for Force of Will or looking for blue card, or they just want to get information off of what they cycled into to decide whether they're going to Force of Will here. Like they might already have it. Okay. And then now, I think given where we're at, I'm just going to get Urza Saga because I want to pressure them, and currently I'm not doing much of that. I could get a Wasteland or a Strip Mine, but I don't think that's going to be that useful compared to just getting an Urza Saga, which puts them on a fairly short clock. And I'm going to leave Wasteland up because if they crack a fetch end of turn to try to use the mana, like to cast an end of turn Brainstorm or Vampiric Tutor, I want to have Wasteland up so it makes them either get a basic or lose their land. This deck doesn't have a way to use Golos, which is kind of funny. Okay. Not going to untap it. Classic drawing Black Lotus when you've got a Revoker on Black Lotus. Past the turn, I don't think there's really a reason to play Black Lotus here because it doesn't do anything. I can play it next turn to make my Urza Saga token bigger, but I don't need to do it now. So 5. I mean, they're dead next turn, so they have to go off this turn here because next turn I have a Urza Saga token. And I mean, obviously, if they have a Hurkyl's Recall or a Steel Sabotage or a bounce spell of any kind, then I'm going to Wasteland that now. So they can't gush in response. Okay. So now here's a question. They're going to Vampiric Tutor. Am I supposed to Archive Trap them now? 2 black? No, that doesn't make sense. What are they dismembering? Oh, they are dismembering. Okay, they're dismembering Golos. Sure. In that case, I'm not going to do anything. That doesn't do anything. Like, they're still dead to my Urza Saga token. I mean, obviously, if they have another piece of removal, that's a different thing. Starting with Preordain is probably not going to work out too well for them, especially with Black Lotus being named with Revoker. If they have a Steel Sabotage, they do buy themselves a turn, but that's it, just 1 turn. Because this token's going to be a 5/5, yeah. All right. Well, what's really nice about that game is I didn't have to use the Archive Trap or show them a Mindbreak Trap because they might not play around them. They might not be able to play around them, and that's fine too, but them not knowing about it is nice. The one thing about Dismember that I'm looking at is sometimes they side in Shieldred, which is pretty big, but I think Nettlesized goes over the top of Shieldred well enough that I'm not supposed to do that. Needle's interesting. Needle can needle a wasteland, or sorry, needle a fetch land. I wonder if 1 needle is actually better than 1 Revoker. Just Urza Sagaing for a needle against a fetch land in play is a play that works out pretty nicely. So I have 5 mana on turn 1. I can get a turn 1 Golos. Oh, I didn't take the Tabernacle out again. Or I can play turn 1 Nettlesist plus Needle. Is turn 1 Urza Saga with no other disruption good enough here? I don't know. I'm going to keep it. I feel like against Force of Will, Force of Negation deck, like this hand is okay. Well, now there's Trinisphere, so that leads me down a slightly different path. Let's go Needle. and I haven't played a land yet. I want to Needle without playing a land so that if they're scared to fetch Underground Sea, because they have to use the Scalding Tarn. I'm going to name Polluted Delta now is what I'm going to name. See, they got a basic island. Polluted Delta and play Trinisphere and hope that they don't have a force. Not that likely. They're probably going to have a force. If they don't, though, we basically just won. Okay, so they pitched Gitaxian Probe, which means they didn't play the Probe, so they might be short on blue cards. And hopefully they've drawn a Polluted Delta this game. All right, that's preordained. And then I'm going to go Golos, get maybe Strip Mine. We'll see what they play. They played a Misty, sure. Okay, flip it and reverse it. Oh, I drew a Wasteland. All right, well, that's pretty nice. Let's go Golos. And I think I do get Strip Mine here. The reason if it resolves. Force pitching preordained. All right, I'm going to play my Wasteland. So, oh, I guess I should have also played Wasteland first because they do have Daze in their deck, but that's okay. Never punished. The reason I wouldn't have gotten Urza Saga is with Nettle Cyst in hand, I already have a pretty fast clock. And getting a way to destroy their land, I think, is going to be better. So they pitched preordained. They have 2 lands in play. Feels like any sort of mana pressure here is going to go a long way. Well, that wasn't it, but that's okay. Let's just go Nettle Cyst. Just make a 4/4. And oh, is this a Steel Sabotage? Okay. And I guess I Bojuka Bog them just because this is a tap land. It doesn't really matter. They have 2 cards in hand. It's not a lot. But I don't have anything. I've got a ton of mana. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 mana. They've drawn every fetch but Delta. But they should play 4 Deltas because they have a swamp to go get. At least I'm not losing Mana Crypt flips. That's no good either. Now I'm starting to lose. Basically, the turns where I don't do anything to advance my game put me in a pretty big hole because their top deck's way better. They've got a bunch of cantrips in their deck, tutors, Ancestral Recall. Their deck's a lot more dangerous than mine. So if I can find a Karn or something this turn, that would be probably my best draw. Golos isn't bad. Mox Jet. And then play Golos. And then here I probably get Inventors Fair. Because getting Inventors Fair means that I can tutor for any artifact. And I can get God-Pharaoh's statue and just cast it and make all their spells cost 2 more. And that is really hard for them to win with that in play. Hopefully they have at least 1 Polluted Delta in hand. Well, they haven't played anything, so that's a decent sign at least. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. Am I going to lose now? Oh, they're just casting Demonic Consultation. Okay. Let's see what they're naming. They named Underground Sea? They named Dark Ritual, I see. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to, I assume going to lose now. They're doing a Doomsday, so I needed to draw Archive Trap, I guess. Because as long as if they have a card draw spell here, then I lose. They didn't exile anything of note, I don't think. No. They exiled a bunch of just random stuff. They would have needed to exile like both their Thassa's Oracles or whatever for me to be able to not lose here. Well, if I got one more turn, I might have been able to win, but didn't look like we're getting that turn. I would imagine they're going to kill me now. Their last card, if it's a Ponder, a Gush, Brainstorm, a Preordain, any of those cards, then I just lose. There is a chance that it's not one of those cards, because they might have cast some of those cards before this, but I am not holding my breath. Oh, Murktide Regent. Huh, that would have been a little problematic. Okay. Oh, Street Wraith also kills me here. Yeah. Street Wraith, now the Ancestral Recall, and then go land Thassa's Oracle, or Gush, sure, that also works. And here we are. Unfortunately, don't have a way to do anything, and that does it. All right. 1 and 2. All right, let's play one more to try to get back to even, but I've learned my lesson about picking up workshops. There's a reason I don't leave home without my Force of Wills, and losing to 2 combo decks, yeah, that could be part of the reason. I did beat the fair-ish creature deck, though, so you got to hand it to me there. Let's see what they're doing. And, yeah, not sure about the whole Time Vault thing. I do like the Goloses. Golos and Saga is a pretty powerful combination. In terms of mana disruption, you've got 4 Wastelands, a Strip Mine, 2 Ghost Quarters. You've got Revokers on Moxes, 5 Spheres, right, with a Thorn, which is also a restricted card, by the way. And then 1 Trinisphere, and then 1 Chalice of the Void. God-Pharaoh Statue and Karn I don't really count. I mean, they do ultimately disrupt the opponent's mana, but they're expensive enough that, like, because you can't even cast Karn with Mishra's Workshop, that they're not quite in the same league as the rest. So you have 7 cheap disruptive artifacts plus the Revokers, and then the lands. Yeah, that's not as much as Workshops at its peak. There have been Workshop decks that got to play 4 Thorn. There's actually one that got to play 4 Lodestone Golem too. Oh, I guess Lodestone Golem does count, because that does get cast with Workshop, so maybe 8. But there was one that got to play like 16 disruptive artifacts, and the Workshop deck was really good then. I actually played a vintage tournament where I was allowed to play 4 Trinispheres. I played Workshops in that tournament, and I made top 4 of the tournament. It was at Worlds 2005, so a little while ago. But having 4 Trinispheres was a lot. Workshop Trinisphere was just like, they could never do anything. So probably for the best that you don't get to do that anymore. All right, let's head into our next round here. Alrighty, time for round 4. I won the die roll. I'm on the play. So I would go Wasteland Go, Strip Mine Sphere. That seems not good enough. What about this? Turn 1, Wasteland, Soul Ring, Time Vault. Turn 2, Nettle Cyst. Turn 3, Golos. Mulligan one more time here. But I probably can't go to 4. Put back Crucible and Soul Guide Lantern. And what are we going to do? Ancient Tomb, Soul Ring, Crucible, turn 1. And then turn 2, Inventors Fair Revoker, I guess. All right. I mean, that's not the most exciting hand, but we took 2 mulligans on the, looking for things. All right. My opponent also mulled a 5. Start with a Soul Ring and play a turn 1 Crucible. Not the most exciting in the world, but it plays. If I draw a Mox, I can go turn 2 Crack Inventors Fair. It's not terrible either. Misty Rainforest Go. Okay. Oh, there's the Mox. Okay, well, let's just pass the turn then. And because there's nothing I want to get right now, so I'm just going to end of turn Crack Inventors Fair because I have 3 artifacts in play, and then I can replay Inventors Fair. So I do have an engine going here. They moved to 5 as well. They went Island, Urza's Saga. Into Time Walk. Okay. Fair enough. So now they're going to be able to make a Saga token if they want. I don't currently have a way to do anything about that. And let's go. What are we going to get? I could get Needle. Needle does stop Urza's Saga. Stops my Urza Sagas too. Could get Golos. Golos seems pretty good. Yeah, let's just get Golos here. Cast Golos. See if they force of will it. I think they did. Not cracking the Tarn there is a little ambitious, because if I played a Wasteland, I could waste their Saga in response to them cracking Tarn. Okay, so now I could get Academy here. Feels like Academy is going to do good work, and then I just play my Urza Saga. I can play the Inventors Fair later. Okay, they get to make a token. It's 1/1. It's about to be a 3/3 if they make another token and search for something. And then, oh, they're not making another thing. They're just going to get their 1 mana card, or are they? I don't mind them making another token here with the Golos is a pretty good defensive measure. Part of the reason I got it. Okay, they got Manifold Key. If they have Time Vault, they just win. Yeah. All right. Playing against Grixis Time Vault here. I don't really want... I actually want the Null Rod, and I think I just take out Time Vault Key from my deck. Like a Null Rod and a Dismember here. Could also take out Soul Guide Lantern. Could put in Mindbreak Trap, but those decks don't usually play like tons and tons of spells in the same turn. I actually don't mind keeping the Tabernacle in. This time's on purpose, just because if they Urza Saga a bunch, sometimes getting a Tabernacle can be pretty good, just cutting down their number of tokens in play. All right. See if we can work some shops here, because so far the shop has been closed for business. Karn's very good against them as well. I would like to play first. All right, I will keep this hand. What am I doing turn 1? I could play turn 1 Golos. I could play turn 1 Lodestone. I could play turn 1 Revoker, but that seems a lot worse than the other two options. I kind of think I just played the turn 1 Lodestone. Just diving that and play on turn 1 is pretty good. And then I can just turn 2 Golos for an Urza Saga, or, well, maybe not Urza Saga because I can't actually make the tokens with this mana. Maybe just get Strip Mine. If I were to turn on Golos, what would that look like? I mean, I guess I could turn on Golos for Strip Mine as well. But it feels like turn 1 Lodestone, then turn 2 I could Revoker Ghost Quarter or something like that. That would also be pretty good. We'll do 6 here. Just play the turn 1 Lodestone Golem. Okay. Force Pitching Time Walk. All right. Was kind of a 2 for 2 since my Mana Vault is now not functional. But we accept that. Black Lotus. Academy. Okay. Demonic Tutor. Probably Ancestral at this point in the game. Yeah, there's Ancestral. That's not even that great of a sequence, to be honest. Like, sacking Lotus to Demonic Tutor Ancestral is like you're up 1 card and you're down Black Lotus and Ancestral from your deck. So Not too worried about that. Let's Golos here and set up for next turn. Because if I Ghost Quarter the Academy, though, they will get a basic, so that doesn't really help much. Do I get Strip Mine? Or do I get something else? Get Urza Saga? No, let's just get Strip Mine here. Let's assume that Golos plus Revoker is enough of a clock. Hope to draw Crucible, and then do that. All right, they're topping on upkeep, which is great because they're tapping their Academy now before playing anything else, which means they don't have more Moxes in hand, and they're probably looking for a land drop here. If they miss their land drop, they're in a lot of trouble because I'm about to Ghost Quarter Strip Mine them. I assume they're going to play a land here. Urza Saga. Okay. Needle. Interesting. Let's start by playing Revoker so I can force them to use their top. I might Needle Misty Rainforest after this as well. Okay, so Sensei's Divining Top. I'm just going to name Misty Rainforest here and Ghost Quarter. I guess I Ghost Quarter Urza Saga. Seems like it would be a mistake to Ghost Quarter Academy here. And then I'll Strip Mine the Academy. Attack, and then next turn I can Ghost Quarter again, and hopefully they don't have a second basic. They can't use top. They played Flooded Strand. Still could go for a Crucible here. Ghost Quarter Island. Okay, they didn't have a second basic, so Ghost Quarters are now just Strip Mines. And then attack for 5, and we'll see if they can assemble something before I take them down with my 5 power worth of idiots. All right, they're up to 3 mana now, so they could definitely cast something. Okay, Urza Saga. It doesn't really change much in this game. Like, it doesn't actually change the clock, so I mean, it's obviously fine. I'll play the Urza Saga. It was an okay draw, but I would have much rather drawn a Sphere or a Wasteland or anything like that. Oh, are they gonna... Oh, this isn't a Mystical Tutor. This is Hurkyl's Recall. Okay, so now they... That basically... All that does is it lets them spin top, because... and maybe unlocks a Misty Rainforest if they had one in their hand. But mostly they're just getting to spin the top here. But next turn I get to replay Revoker and Needle and Golos. I get to play everything. I always wish that they would put the Antiquities version of Hurkyl's Recall on Magic Online. They have not done that. All right, well. Let's see, they have like a Tinker here maybe. Oh, they're spinning top again. Good news. Anytime you're worried about your opponent doing something and the first thing they do is like cast a Preordain or spin a Sensei's top, especially this top after they've already seen 2 of the cards, it's a good sign. You got to be pretty happy about that. So now what are they going to do? I mean, obviously they could have like Yawgmoth's Will, and that'd be bad for me. They could go Time Vault Key, but again, starting with Sensei's Divining Top means they're certainly missing something here. Okay, they drew at the top. They haven't used Time Walk yet. Oh, there's Mana Vault. Okay. Paradoxical Outcome, returning 2 cards. So now they have those 2, Ruby, Vault, Sensei's Top in hand. Okay, they didn't do anything else. Now we get to go. Now it's our time to shine. start with a needle. Okay, they're going to draw off top. I'm still going to name Sensei's Divining Top, I think. And then Revoker, Mana Vault. If you don't force it. Mana Vault. And then play my own Mana Vault. Play Soul Ring. Oh, right. I revoked Mana Vault before using my Mana Vault. Well played, well played. Let's play Golos. That was a dumb play. And now they forced the Golos. All right. Well, that actually could really cost me. Oof. You hate to see it. I had everything right except I was supposed to tap the Mana Vault before playing the Revoker. Because then... Oh, well, okay. That might have gotten me back into it. They have two cards in hand. One's a Sensei's Top. Oh, are they going to PO? They're pretty dead now. Because now my Urza Saga token kills them. I mean, they're going to have a pretty good two cards they drew. Okay. Well, you still can't activate Sensei's Top. That one is still locked down. All right, well, that was an embarrassing sequence on everyone's side. Let's see. Yeah, still kind of want to null-rod my opponent, don't I? I guess now knowing that they're paradoxical outcome, I'm going to put in the Mind Break traps. I'm going to take out a Dismember, and I'm going to take out the Soul Guide, I think. All right, let's see if we can get a good Mind Break trap action. So far we haven't. The dog doesn't care that I'm 1-2 in a Vintage League. We're moments away, one game away from being 2-2 in a Vintage League, which is the dream if you weren't aware. Mind Break trap's a cool card. All right. On the draw here. What do we got? Turn 1 Sphere off of Urza's Saga and Mox. Turn 2 Bojuka Bog, no plays unless I draw a land. But if I draw a land, it's pretty good. This is pretty borderline. I think I can keep it. Bojuka Bog. I mean... You got to have the Bojuka Bog. You're playing a Golos deck. It just makes your game 1 against Dredge dramatically different. If you don't have it, you can't win. If you do have it, you at least have a chance. But I've drawn Bojuka Bog a lot, and it's been horrendous. Opponent is mulliganing, which does make this hand a little bit better. And this deck also has a lot of mana sources. Like, if you take a look at the deck, it has 24 lands plus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 32 mana sources because Tabernacle doesn't count. That's a lot of mana sources. All right, they mulled to 5. Turn 1, Sensei's Divining Top. Academy, all right. Well, if I draw a Wasteland, I would definitely do that. Pearl. I guess Thorn is actually better than Sphere because it doesn't make my Goloses more expensive. Thorn of Amethyst. Spin the top. Spin, spin, spin. They still have access to 4 mana if they play a land on their turn too. So I'm not under any illusion that Thorn is going to stop them from enacting some amount of their game plan. Or are they considering forcing it? Oh, they're ancestraling in response. That's a lot worse. On the other hand, that does mean that they're down an artifact in play, and that artifact costs 2 mana to cast. Oh man, they drew a Mox too. To another Mox. Yeah, their Mold of 5 was pretty good. They have millions of mana now. They can play top and have access to 4 mana off their academy. What are we hoping for here? A land, I guess, would still be pretty good. All right, well, Wasteland is great. So I'm just going to Wasteland the academy. It's not mana efficient in the slightest, but it cuts 4 mana off of them, so I had to do that. And then Urza Saga is probably just going to get me Soul Ring next turn. Because now they might not even be able to cast Paradoxical Outcome. They need a 5th land, which obviously it's not that hard to find, but it's better than nothing. Unfortunately, I can't cast my Sphere because Thorn is preventing me from doing that. Okay. Pass. Oh, they're going to Hercules recall me? Okay, that doesn't seem like it does too much, unless they have a force now. I just got to recast my stuff. Well, that was good for me. It basically just, they discarded a Hercules recall, which is a really powerful card for nothing. I mean, obviously they're just going to cast Tinker now, and I'm still going to lose, but that was something. Oh, they're going to fragmentize my Urza Saga. Okay, and then play their own. Okay. Oh, what is their last card? Time Vault? Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm under a clock now because they're going to get Manifold Key in 2 turns here, so I need to find an answer. A Wasteland? Yeah, a Wasteland does it. Okay. I'm still pretty screwed, like locked under my own Thorn, but if I draw a Workshop or something, then we're kind of back in it. Drawing 2 Wastelands in a row is pretty good. Obviously, we're really far behind. They have access to 4 mana and spinning a top, and Manifold Key is lethal because of Time Vault. But on the plus side, we did Wasteland both Saga and Tolarian Academy, and they have no cards in hand currently, so this is definitely not over. It all starts with Mishra's Workshop, though. It does not start with Karn, the Great Creator. All right, well, there's Bojuka Bog. Obviously, if I could get Karn into play, it would be fantastic, but we're so far away from that. Did they just find Tinker immediately? Oh, Monastery Mentor. Okay, Workshop? Oh, well, Tolarian Academy is not actually that far from Workshop. Let's see, 2, 3, 4. I guess I'm going to make a Nettle Cyst. Okay. And then next turn, they can maybe make a Monk or 2. Probably, like, it would be difficult for them to make 3. They can tap top to draw a card, so they know they can replay top. And then if they have another 1 mana spell, then they get to do something. Or they're just going to draw for their turn, maybe. No, they're tapping the top. And then they brainstorm into top. So they're going to have a 4/4 Mentor. But then next turn, I'm going to have enough mana to play Golos or to play Karn. So the problem with Karn is they're going to have some monks in play, but if I Karn and tick it up to 6, because Karn turns off all their artifacts. All right, let's see how this goes. All right, so they're not going to be able to counter it because their last card is top here. They're going to have 3 monks in play. They're not going to be able to play another card next turn. Well, they might be able to, but they're probably not going to be able to. And I'm going to have a Nettle Cyst that's a 3/3. And the Karn will be on 6. I actually think I might be in this game. All right, let's take it. Draw, especially if I draw a land that I can play that does something. Oh, Ancient Tomb. Let's see. Unfortunately, I don't think I can play Sphere. Right, Sphere costs 3, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, but I can go 3, 4, 5 Karn. All their stuff turns off. Yeah, they can spin their top. So let me see, view my sideboard. So I can go get a play. I could get a Ballista and cast it this turn. Karn would be at 3. Alternately, though, sure, they're going to draw their card. That's fine. Alternately, I guess they're going to get to cast top, so they're going to have a 3/3 and 2 2/2s. So what I think maybe I do is I just +1 on my Thorn. But if I Ballista, then this will be a 4/4, though. That would be nice. I could also get Soul Guide, but then this would die, so I can't do that. So if I get Ballista, make a 1/1 Ballista, because remember, Thorn doesn't make it more expensive. This is a 4/4. Ballista blocks that, block that. Karn goes to 1, because they can't cast anything else. Or I could plus Karn on Thorn, and then the Thorn, this is a 3/3. I could block with Metal Cyst, block that. But then the Thorn dies, but that's okay. Yeah, let's +1 on Thorn. And then pass the turn. And then they have a Sensei's top plus 1 other card. Obviously, if they've found a card to cast with top, that's good. That's a thing. But I think they're just casting their top. Yeah. I'm hoping they didn't have like another Fragmentize. Okay. So they have a 3/3 and some 2/2s. That's actually not going to do the trick. Ha! This is a sick game to win. All right, this has been fun. Because now, block, these all die, but their Mentor's gone. My Nettle Cyst dies as well, so does my Thorn. But they just have 2 monks in play. And then now I can Golos. Lots of Goloses. So let's see, if I play Sphere, I'll have 3, 4, 5 artifacts. That's not quite what I want. I don't think getting something, because I'm kind of interested in Golosing for Tabernacle. Well, the problem is I can Karn for Mycosynth Lattice, but that doesn't do anything. I can't Golos and play Sphere of Resistance, unfortunately. Sphere, and then I'd have 3. Oh, I could Golos and Sphere of Resistance if I Karn for a 0-drop. But then maybe I just Golos for, but then I can Golos for Tabernacle. Because I can Karn for a 0-drop to basically +1 mana on Academy. But if I just Golos for Tabernacle, is that just better? They have to pay the 2 to keep the monks in play. Yeah, I think I'm going to Golos for Tabernacle and just not play anything else, most likely. I guess I could Karn for Ballista and play Ballista as well. Play Ballista for 1, and then I'll have 5 mana. All right. Yeah, so I use the ability. Let's get this Walking Ballista. I'm going to get the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. Just that way, if they want to keep their monks around, they have to tap both their lands. And if they don't keep their monks around, then they can't Hurkyl's Recall to kill Karn. Yeah, because Karn in play is like just the whole game, right? They can't attack. Oh, I guess they can't attack. Who am I to say they can't attack? Sure. And then I'll pay for... Do I want to pay for Golos? I guess it's free because the Academy taps for an additional mana as a result. And there's Urza Saga. +1 Karn on their Mox Jet just to kill it. 3, 4, 5. Play another Golos. Keep the original Golos. Let's get Mishra's Workshop and then play Sphere. And I think that's basically going to be game, or it's very close to it. I guess if they have Force of Will or something, we could maybe get there. All right. Well, we finished 2-2. We're going to call it there. And this deck is, well, it's a Mishra's Workshop deck. It's got some fun stuff going on. It is fun to cast Golos, Urza Saga. Made surprisingly few Urza Saga tokens, actually. And locking down their mana with spheres and whatnot. But didn't love how it played out against combo. All right, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out and watching some vintage with me. If you like this video, if you hit like and or subscribe. We've got new videos dropping every day and really been enjoying it. So thanks for watching and see you tomorrow.